Hey everyone, it's Davy Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas where I run the jazz guitar program. I'm a Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist. It's my most recent CD with them, Live at National Sawdust. Got a book from Mel Bay Publishing called Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary. And as always, I'm glad to be collaborating with Jazz Guitar Today on these series of videos where I've just been sharing my thoughts about tunes and harmony and things that come up in my teaching practice and my playing practice, which are very related, of course, because I teach what I play and I play what I teach, I think. Anyway, so today I want to talk a little bit about the Pat Metheny tune Missouri Uncompromised, or maybe Missouri Uncompromised. And I did another video about the tune Syrup Horn. From both these songs are from the Bright Size Life album, and I got to play them both recently on a gig out in Shreveport, Louisiana, with Brian Blade, Mark Griffith, and Roland Guerin. So these tunes have been on my mind, and this one is, it's challenging. It's more kind of up tempo, and the melody. I usually don't talk too much about melodies on these videos because I'm dealing with the harmony and improvising part, but melody's a bit challenging. It's got an intervallic quality to it that presents some picking issues that maybe I'll talk about in a second. But harmonically, it's really interesting too because the tune is it's an AABA form, and the A's are actually kind of like a blues in a way, an A major blues with some interesting other chords, and then the bridge is an 8-bar bridge, so 12-bar A sections. And just to talk about the harmony for a second, so the A section, you got A major for about 4 bars. Then you have like B flat over A, this kind of sound, followed by a D flat triad over A flat, an E flat triad over G. Maybe I'm playing like an E flat 2 chord over G, a D2 over F sharp, and then kind of E7, maybe E over D or D major 7 sharp 11, and back to A. So in tempo, it's kind of like. And it's interesting. I was telling my students, we've been working on this song here at the end of the semester at UNT. And, back when I was an undergrad, I'd say like 1998, 1999, it would have been really difficult for me to play on that harmony. It's the idea of playing on a lot of triads and not having like 2-5-1s or more standard jazz progressions to kind of hold on to. And my training in New Orleans at the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts and learning to play, straight ahead jazz did not really equip me for those situations. And similarly to Syrup Horn, I think thinking about some pentatonics can help you think about that. So basically what I do, at least now, so far on this song, on the A major, I'm thinking kind of A major, Ionian mode. Sometimes I'll throw an F natural in there for some reason. I feel like I heard him do that on the record somewhere, but kind of occasionally going. And then on the B flat over A, it's really like B flat Lydian. Or I could play an A minor pentatonic, right? Because when you have a major 7 sharp 11 sound, if you go down a half step and play minor pentatonic, that works. Really on the A major before that, I could have played C sharp minor pentatonic is a nice one, or just F sharp minor pentatonic, which is your major pentatonic scale. But really it gets tricky for me, like, okay, you're on B flat over A, then go into D flat over A flat, into E flat over G. And where I'm at right now with that is a lot of the time I'll play like a B flat Lydian into a kind of B flat minor pentatonic over the D flat, which is really just like the D flat major pentatonic scale. And then to that, sometimes I'll add a note or two, and this happens to me a lot with pentatonics. I talked about this on the Syrup Horn video too. that I kind of end up, maybe the pentatonic is the basis of what I'm doing and the grip that I go for with my left hand. Then I'll add notes to it, and I end up with like 6-note scales sometimes, and I'm not sure if it's a pentatonic plus a note or a major scale minus a note at this point, but somehow another note ends up getting in there. So for me, what's kind of happened is like a C natural gets in there somehow. So I'll have something like A major. And that'll take me to E flat over G, where I'll play like a C minor pentatonic. And that one goes by kind of fast, so I do kind of end up just playing C minor pentatonic, which is of course E flat major pentatonic. So I'll have like, and the next chord, D over F sharp, I'll kind of go to B minor pentatonic. And at that point, yeah, it's kind of just D major. We're in the key of A, so it's the 4 chord. So if I want to play like some notes from kind of just arpeggiated D major 7 chord, and then there's a regular turnaround. There's like a 5-4-1 turnaround. Although the D chord has kind of got a major 7, whereas in maybe like a bluesy blues, the 4 chord might be dominant. But for me, the real rub is like getting my language, the language that I came up with, checking out early '60s Joe Pass and Wes Montgomery and folks like that, get it to work over this song, this kind of harmony, more triads. It was a real challenge, and I even tell my students, I kind of felt like back in the '90s, in the late '90s, there was sort of there was a split, and some of this is in my mind, but I think this was true. That there were cats that could kind of play the more triadic harmony and sound good on it, and then cats that could play like, Along Came Betty and stuff like that. And they weren't always the same people. Occasionally you had somebody that could do both, but nowadays I think it's something where I think partially like Kurt Rosenwinkel helped with this to kind of like seal the breach and be able to play over both types of harmony. And so I try to, to me it was always a thing where I really like the sound of this tune, and I like the tunes on Bright Side's Life. I don't really have, this is me, 20 years ago, I don't really have the skills to play over it, so I got to figure something out. And so that I can sound like myself. 20 years ago, myself was, in Cohit, coming into being. But I knew that I had to find some way to be able to sound like myself over different types of tunes that I was interested in playing. So and you listen to the recording, on Bright Side's Life, it's great too. The other thing I like, when I first heard it, I kind of thought they were playing free, maybe like playing some time, no changes. But, learning the song and going back and listening to it, it's so, Matheny just hits all the chords so specifically. And the rhythm section has a nice loose feel where they don't, they're swinging, but they don't make the form so obvious. And so it has this kind of free quality to it, which is really nice. Anyway, the bridge of the song, you got a C sharp minor. So, we're in the key of A, so kind of like a 3 chord to the 4 chord to D, back to the 3 chord, and then to that B flat over A thing again. And sometimes, just because I can't help myself, I'll and go into that C sharp minor out of the A section. So you got like 5-4-1. I'll put imply a G sharp 7, a 5-1, go into that C sharp minor, even though it's not really there in the song. Just to kind of bring some, maybe more bop sound and stuff into the tune, because that's my, that's my roots. But one other thing, that melody, just a thought about that, because I had to get it together in performance shape pretty quick, and it was a little tricky. He goes, and I found, maybe these days someone might not try to pick every note there, but in listening to the way Matheny plays it at that period, it sounds like he's picking every note. So you could have gone kind kind of gone, because we got E, A, B, E, A, B, in 2 octaves like that, and then, you know, something more within the scale. But what I came up with in trying to figure out how I pick things like this to execute them, I went down, up, down, and then instead of doing an up here, so I went back to another down. So, and then I alternate picked after that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes, and I'm alternate picking except for this one little skip here. And you know, I searched for different places to play that. Like, should I try to play it in one position? Maybe. I don't know. Should I play it down here? I didn't really entertain that idea very quickly, but to me this seemed to work, you know, and I kind of, my picking and where I play things is kind of trial and error, you know, till I come up with something I like. So I had that. And then the next part, it's kind of like up a half, same thing up a half step, except it starts on beat 2 instead of beat 1, and that kind of throws a monkey wrench into that picking a little bit. And the effect for me was that I alternate pick the next part totally. So I have the first part, and so yeah, it's tricky to pull that off at a tempo. The only other thing that I discovered about my my right hand here is after I do this part, so I go. This part here. I have to do an up pick on that note so that I can then go. If I do a down pick there, somehow I can't get myself to get back to here in time. So anyway, it's a challenging melody to pull off, and I wish there were video of Metheny playing it. I didn't find any to see where he would actually play it. I tell the students here, they're so fortunate, you know, these days they could see their favorite players perform on YouTube or whatever and see actually what they're doing. You know, back in the day, even in the 90s, you know, listening to Bright Size Life, it was a little bit mysterious. You know, you didn't know how it was done. You know, there's no video of Jocko and Bob Moses and Metheny playing the tune, which would have been amazing. But so that's what I came up with. So anyway, I'm going to play a few choruses on this harmony, and yeah, it's a great record, great tune. So check it out. Thanks.